Hi everyone, I'm Paul and I tell you everything you need to know about the artisanplus planning and inventory solution for coffee roasters. In this video, I show you how to fine-tune the available configuration options, which helps you to get your work done more quickly. Let's fire up our web browsers and get started. We find the configuration options by clicking on our name at the top bar. Obviously we have some easy things like the temperature, where you can switch between Celsius and Fahrenheit. Similarly, you can choose your currency. Be aware though that changing that will not do any currency conversion, so stick to your main currency. And your nickname, which is mostly used for displaying it at the top and in emails. Interesting for some of you is that you can switch between light and dark mode depending on your preference. Auto will use your system settings. Since more and more roast machines and the artisanscope client supports measuring the energy consumption, you can switch between different energy units here. The weight or volume of your propane bottle is used if you define reminders to notify you when the bottle is close to being empty. The next section is important if you want to export data from artisanplus to other programs. If an import doesn't work as expected, experiment with these settings. For example, depending on your language, location and other system settings, you might be using a dot or a comma as a decimal separator. Let's briefly have a look what happens if you have the wrong setting. If I copy data from this report and paste it into my number crunching software, you can see here that instead of £2, it uses £2,000 and £1,800. And you can see here, because this 10.0 is left aligned, it is actually not interpreted as a number, but just as text. You can verify that easily if you select multiple numbers and then look at the bottom. It calculates the sum and the minimum and maximum. You can see the minimum should be 10, but it's 1,800. So let's go back and change the setting to comma as decimal separator. Copy the same data again and paste it into the same application. Now it correctly interpreted these numbers as 2 and 1.8, the sum being 3.8. We can also verify this by changing the number of decimals to show. Note that when you export data directly in Excel format, it will load correctly independent of your system settings. Here it shows the correct numbers and also the loss is formatted as percent values. Next up in settings, we have company name and number, which are simply printed on all the reports that you can create. Finally, customs is probably important only for German roasters. They need to create special reports for customs for tax purposes. I'll make a separate video for those. Now, very interesting are the possibilities to share your data and give access to them. But let's also cover that in another video. Instead, I would like to show you two last options to personalize your artisanplus experience. The first is the language. Currently supported are English, German, Italian, French, Portuguese and Chinese. The difference between the American flag and the British flag is mostly how dates are written. In the British version, it's for example 13 February 25, while if we switch to American English, it will be written as February 13. The second option that you might not have spotted at the first glance is to customize the appearance of your store by choosing a different picture. Just click on it and select a file. You can crop the image to your liking. And you can also change the default icon with anything you want. That way You can easily recognize it, especially if you have multiple stores. But there's so much more we can do on the platform. Stay tuned and look forward to the next videos where I will talk about how to define blends, how to add roasts, and a lot of the other great features of Artisan Plus.